Coming up on AgWeek TV, President Biden rolls out a plan to increase livestock market competition and expand meat processing. Ethanol margins have done a 180 since the 2020 COVID meltdown. We'll find out why. And we'll meet a Minnesota farm family that's been selling their high-quality pork direct to consumers for more than 20 years. Welcome to AgWeek TV. I'm Michelle Rook. The new year brings the first farm show of the season. The Dakota Farm Show kicked off at the Dakota Dome in Vermillion on Tuesday. The show was back at full capacity with all 475 booth spaces filled. More than 280 exhibitors represented hundreds of product lines and services. The Dakota Farm Show is traditionally where many companies unveil new technology and products, but that was a challenge this year with supply chain issues.
You know, I think one of the challenges this year is having product. We got a lot of discussions here about is product available. Some exhibitors have had a harder time kind of bringing the stuff that they wanted to have here at the show. With the strong commodity prices, Riles says the mood has been positive among farmers and vendors at the Dakota Farm Show, as well as their December events. There was also a full slate of educational seminars for producers to attend. We'll have more from the show later in our program. President Joe Biden and Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack met with farmers and ranchers at the White House this week to announce a meat and poultry supply chain action plan. The plan includes 4 strategies to help create a more competitive, resilient market. The administration will use $1 billion of American Rescue Plan funds to expand independent meat processing. How far those dollars will go and details on eligibility, though, are still a question mark.
We don't know whether that means going down to the local meat locker or what size that actually entails. But like I say, anytime that we can increase capacity, it's going to be a favorable thing for producers.
The organizers of a new 1,500 head a day beef processing plant in Iowa say the plan will help their project.
I think we will obviously qualify for some of this funding they're talking about. The barrier to entry to a plant like this is capital, and any time that the government's behind you and the people are behind you to help with that capital is a very good thing.
The plan also improves market competition and transparency in the meat and poultry sector through stricter enforcement of existing competition laws and by issuing stronger rules under the Packers and Stockyards Act, plus new Product of USA labeling rules. South Dakota is already expanding meat processing capacity through the state's Coronavirus Relief Meat Processing Grant Program rolled out in mid-2021. The state used $5 million of CARES Act funding to provide grants to help expand existing meat processing plants and build new facilities. Ag Secretary Hunter Roberts says his department is managing the program, which has seen overwhelming demand.
We had $35 million of ask. We provided grants for 107 facilities, I think. We're getting right to the end of it. We proposed using $5 million of that. We're going to use every penny of that is what the plan is.
He says most of the existing facilities used their entire $43,000 quota, and there were also 16 new facilities that applied.
Not all of those moved forward and we were able to capitalize on this grant, so we reallocated some of that funding back to those other new facilities that have moved forward.
He says the facilities range in size from smaller $50,000 butcher shops up to a $5 million medium-scale processing plant. COVID-19 nudged many livestock producers into selling their product directly to consumers. But one southern Minnesota pork-producing family has been doing it for about 2 decades. Michael Pates has more in this week's AgWeek cover story.
Michelle, the Comparts of Nicollet, Minnesota sell their premium pork products in restaurants, retail, and online.
Duroc is known for rapid growth rate, a good appetite, good quality pork.
5 families and 2 generations of the Compart family raise and sell high-quality Duroc pork. Their online and retail meat now accounts for half of their farm's income. They've grown from selling 75 pigs a week as meat in 2003 to now marketing 2,400 hogs every week.
When we measured our hogs against other hogs, we realized that we had something better. When looking at meat quality, Duroc are in the 3 to 4 ranges, which is the most desirable.
About 20 years ago, the Compart family came to realize their pork was superior quality than most on the market, and they wanted to take advantage of that. So they branded it the Black Angus of pork and started marketing it around Minnesota and the country.
We had a product that was so high quality that we realized that it needed to be a branded program. So we spent a lot of time focusing on trademarks and what it takes to brand a product.
The Comparts say thinking up counter moves to challenges has made them stronger over the years. The family was dealt a major setback in the late 80s when pseudorabies disease nearly wiped them out in the purebred business.
We were absolutely devastated and crippled because, what had been a very successful business was very much we had all our eggs in one basket. These are genetic trend lines for our 2 farms that produce purebred Durocs. Eventually, you start to see this very progressive upward slope.
In recovering from the outbreak, the Comparts implemented significant and strict safety measures and innovated feeding and breeding programs that allowed them to market a thriving branded meat enterprise that they enjoy today.
Yesterday was 2 of these U-Hauls basically full of them.
So the Compart family believes the key to their future in the pork business is increased research on the production side so they can provide a better meat product. For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at Nicollet, Minnesota.
You can read more in the next Ag Week magazine or at agweek.com. The American Seed Trade Association is disputing claims that neonicotinoid seed treatments are destroying the pollinator population and harming the environment. The Center for Food Safety recently filed a federal lawsuit against EPA for failure to regulate seed treatments, including neonics. But ASTA officials say research studies back their position that the products are safe, so they're urging EPA and the courts to use the science when determining their future.
The science says that neonics, when used properly and label rates, are safe for the environment and safe for the consumers and safe for the farmer. And a very good, effective tool for the farmer to use.
Levine says seed treatments are important to grain producers and promote strong emergence and healthy plant stands.
If a disease or a pest gets to that seed when it's under the ground, it's not going to germinate, and that farmer's lost the investment he's made.
Meanwhile, EPA says they don't have the authority to regulate these seed treatments because they're not covered under the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. Coming up on Ag Week TV, we'll look at the ethanol market making a strong rebound after COVID.
Superior Grain Equipment is committed to quality and service. Protect your bottom line and your future with superior quality, protection, and reliability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
At Advanced Grain Handling Systems, we're your full-service grain dryer and bin project partner. We'll handle everything from start to finish.
These guys are all in one. That was one of the big draws. They were the general. They took care of the electrical. They took care of the cement, took care of everything.
Whether your next project is big or small, let our team help with it all. Visit advancedgrainhandling.com.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with the design that's going to fit your needs.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you. From top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
South Dakota Soil Health Coalition will be hosting the 2022 Soil Health Conference on January 18th and 19th at the Best Western Ramkota in Aberdeen, offering a chance to network and learn from other producers and ag professionals on a broad range of soil health topics. Conference registration is free for students of any age and offers valuable information for all. You can learn more about the conference and register online at sdsoilhealthcoalition.org.
Go beyond the headlines with an AGWEEK membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to AgWeek and AgWeek TV.
Welcome back. We're here at the Dakota Farm Show in Vermillion, South Dakota. One of the popular topics of discussion here at the show is the impact of supply chain issues on crop production. Farmers were talking with vendors about how the disruptions are driving up input and equipment prices.
Suppliers aren't even sure of what their cost will be yet on some of the products, so it's kind of a guessing game on some of it, but it's going to be substantially higher than it was a year ago.
Plus, it's putting the availability of some products, such as popular herbicides, in question for the 2022 growing season.
Roundup and Liberty being the most common that we understand has been put on somewhat of an allocation. Some have been cut back, some are there. It's just going to be when we get those deliveries, will they get in time for this upcoming spring and post-application seasons.
A lot of equipment is back ordered, and anything with electronic parts or computer chips won't be delivered for weeks or even months.
The precision ag equipment side of it has been short supply on different components.
Farmers are being told the supply problems could continue into 2023. Ethanol profitability has done a complete 180 since the height of the COVID meltdown in 2020. At that time, gasoline and ethanol consumption dropped by 50% and forced the same amount of ethanol plants offline. However, the ethanol industry had some near-record margins late in 2021, and they continue strong to start 2022. Ethanol prices and margins are off their record high set in November, but are still very profitable.
Margins are really good. We haven't had margins like this for a number of years, so it's really nice.
DTN market analyst Trey Cronin says they peaked at well over $1 per gallon in the fall, but are still positive.
We've been grinding corn at an incredible pace, really supporting that ethanol demand for corn. And again, that's come off a little bit, probably slows a little bit more as we get into the winter, but a real bright spot after the kind of year we saw in 2020.
That's kept corn basis and cash prices abnormally firm since harvest and meant some nice dividend checks for farmer investors.
They are doing very well. The two operations that I belong to, the ethanol plants, are saying we never would have guessed this, but it's another perfect storm.
Demand outstripped production after the ethanol pipeline was depleted during COVID, and plants have produced more than 1 million barrels per day for multiple weeks, catching up.
Part of it is a tight supply. We're at about 100% pre-COVID demand right now. People are back and traveling.
Plus, higher energy prices support more ethanol use.
Gasoline is more expensive, so they're using more ethanol for that to put into the gas.
Cronin says how long this trend will continue is difficult to predict.
We just got to keep watching ethanol swaps and ethanol prices, and as long as they can kind of maintain where they're at with corn prices, we're going to keep grinding corn.
Bourbon hopes it lasts long enough, though, for ethanol plants to heal from the financial meltdown during COVID and rebuild.
We hope that continues because it's important for us to have a margin because we're investing in the future.
Lake Region Livestock of Devils Lake, North Dakota has been sold. Chris Plummer of Langdon is taking over the operation from Jim and Mary Ziegler, who had the business for 33 years. The Zieglers dealt with the setback in 2020 when Brian Gator was accused of bouncing a check to the sale barn for $227,000. Plummer has worked at the sale barn for several years. The change took place on January 1st, but the Zieglers say they'll be around to assist in a smooth transition. Still ahead on AgWeek TV.
I said, I'll never move to town unless somebody forces me.
We'll meet a North Dakota woman who's still doing dairy the old-fashioned way.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade. Featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Hamilton System Inc. in Drayton, North Dakota is the North American distributor of the Fantini corn and sunflower header. Both the L03 corn head and the G03 sunflower head have a simple, high-efficiency, low-maintenance PTO-driven gearbox, which eliminates slippage and power loss even in the most trying conditions. These heads are built with a solid one-piece frame and tubular steel construction that will withstand the harshest field conditions. Available in models from 4 to 18 rows, they adapt to any combine and come with a 4-year warranty on the transmission units.
Every season has an end. After spending your whole life building something, it can be hard to move on to your next stage in life. But when that time comes, you deserve to have someone you trust guide you through the process. And by trusting us to pass on your legacy, it gives someone else the chance to create their own. Every auction has a story. Let us share yours.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
It was a cold start to the new year, but what can we expect for the rest of January? Here's John with our AgriWeather outlook.
Since Christmas, Arctic air has built into the northern plains and it has lingered for quite some time. A fairly long cold snap, not record-breaking length, but certainly some very cold weather. With this Arctic air of recent days has come a number of Arctic snowfalls. By that I mean that dry, fluffy snow. It piles up like this, it drifts like crazy, but there isn't much moisture in it. So actually at this point in time, although many areas of like North Dakota, Minnesota, for example, in particular, have had fairly significant snowfalls, there has not been a significant, so far, amount of water in that snow. So the outlook for example, Red River Valley flooding or spring wetness has not really changed that much. The moisture certainly has been good in the snow, but it's not that much. Now, the Arctic air has retreated or is in the process of retreating a little bit this week coming up, but it does look like some semblance of it will return before too much time goes by. Here we are on the first day on Sunday. The colder weather will be dissipating, going north back up toward Hudson Bay and actually shifting more toward eastern Canada and the Maritimes as the big trough of low pressure, which was in the middle of the country, now shifts to New England. You're going to see some lake effect snows downwind of the Great Lakes. You're going to see some sub-zero air getting up into northern New England. Rest of the east, a little bit cooler, except for South Florida, South Texas, and the usual spots in the Southwest. Keep in mind, this is January, so for most of the U.S. to be fairly cool, or in terms of cold, below freezing, is hardly unusual this time of year. What is a little strange is the Arctic air kind of departing the state of Alaska this time of year, but keep an eye on that. It will likely be back. As we go through the week, the frigid weather does make a little bit of a shift back towards central Canada, and by this weekend, a lot of the United States will be below freezing. And then as we move into next week, as I said, a shift of this frigid weather back to the west. I look for some ridging along the western part of North America, which will try to displace some cold air down south again, so that by the middle of the month, I do think there will be some very cold weather back into at least the northern part of the northern plains and central Canada. Whether it will be as cold as this most recent round of Arctic air, that remains to be seen. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Precipitation, after all the snow in the northern plains in late December and early January, this week of the 9th through 15th looks pretty dry. There will be some significant rain coming up into Texas. And the second week of this forecast, there will be some clipper weather, probably light to moderate snows moving out into the northern plains as the cold weather begins to surge back. Still rainy weather from Texas along the Gulf Coast and most of Southern California. It does look like will remain fairly dry.
At Advanced Grain Handling Systems, we're your full-service grain dryer and bin project partner. We'll handle everything from start to finish.
These guys are all in one. That was one of the big draws. They were the general. They took care of the electrical. They took care of the cement, took care of everything.
Whether your next project is big or small, let our team help with it all. Visit AdvancedGrainHandling.com.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you can help protect the price of your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your years of hard work. LRP is available for feeder cattle, fat cattle, and swine. Besides the availability of price risk insurance in your production, cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from the lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. To learn more about these programs, call Martinson Ag Risk Management.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
The team at North Star Ag is committed to quality and committed to you. We're not just a full-service dealer, we're farmers too, so we know you need the best machinery and services that'll keep you going all season long. We have the largest equipment inventory in the upper Midwest with a well-equipped parts and service department. So whether you need machinery tomorrow or parts today, stop in and experience what North Star Ag can offer. Check out all our new and used equipment online at northstarag.com or call 701-361-4790.
For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Small dairy farms have been disappearing around the region, but one family by Nome, North Dakota is one of the few still hanging on. And as Kevin Wallavend reports, they have no plans to change.
As the cold December sun started to come up at the Johnson Dairy Farm,
Stand still.
Rosie Johnson got ready to take on the day, like she does every day, twice a day. Rosie tied the tails on her jerseys and Holsteins.
Everybody says, oh, they're such sweet, gentle little cows. No, they're not. They have attitudes.
Right now, milking just 9 cows, soon 17.
Yeah, we milk 3 at a time. Nights we milk 4, which goes really fast.
Rosie and her husband Roger,
701 is washed if she's done.
both in their 70s, have been milking for decades. Rosie still bucket milks, putting surge milkers on the cows that she knows by name.
Wonton and Belle and Sparkle are the 3 jerseys in a row there.
There are days Rosie milks cows by hand if a cow happens to be injured or the power goes out. The Johnsons' primitive milking is practiced by so few in the state, it's now hard to get parts for their milkers. But Rosie says they get by, always have, milking twice a day, 365 days a year. Holidays, weekends.
I guess we've always done it. I have. I don't know anything else. Yes, you need petted. And, it's when my kids were both home, they would milk one weekend. We'd go to Medora for our anniversary.
It's hard for dairy farmers to call it quits. It's emotional, and it's such a way of life, even though it's tough. Her body is taking a toll.
I've had both knees replaced and one shoulder fixed so far.
Where else can you come to work, surrounded by cats, dogs, and a horse? Rosie says this would be tough to leave.
I said, I'll never move to town unless somebody forces me.
Still ahead on Ag Week TV, lamb producers aren't sheepish about promoting their meat.
If you're interested in health, good food, and sustainability, the Northern Plains Sustainable Ag Society invites you to attend the 2022 Northern Plains Food and Farming Conference, January 27th through the 29th at the Holiday Inn in Fargo, North Dakota. A robust lineup of speakers and topics is in the works for the Northern Plains Sustainable Ag's 2022 Winter Conference. Register online at npsas.org.
Systems way. Good work, good pay, in a good life lets me live my way. Good work, good pay, Trans Systems way. Good work.
Every season has an end. After spending your whole life building something, it can be hard to move on to your next stage in life. But when that time comes, you deserve to have someone you trust guide you through the process. And by trusting us to pass on your legacy, it gives someone else the chance to create their own. Every auction has a story. Let us share yours.
The 40th annual AGWEEK Farm Show will return to the Graham Arena Complex at the Olmsted County Fairgrounds on March 8th through 9th, 2022. This year, AGWEEK plans to host panel discussions on 4 hot topic issues in agriculture: egg in a carbon-neutral world, cybersecurity in agriculture, animal egg policies, and urban agriculture. It's going to be a can't-miss opportunity for farmers and ag leaders in the region.
The COVID pandemic has given lamb producers some opportunities to market their meat directly to consumers, but there aren't enough processors and workers to meet demand. Speakers addressed that and other important topics to producers at the annual Lamb and Wool Producers Joint Convention in Fargo, North Dakota. Extension sheep specialist Travis Hoffman says lamb meat is getting more popular, but producers are having trouble finding processors.
People want to continue to know the farmer and rancher, and people want to consume lamb. And so if we can continue to make that part of our supply chain, then we're working with those processors so that we can facilitate the needs.
In North Dakota, it is legal to sell animals directly to consumers for meat under a personal use exemption if the consumer slaughters the animal on the farm without physical help from the seller. That happened more often during the pandemic as it was harder for producers to get their meat to processing plants. But that is illegal in Minnesota. Stories you'll only see on AgWeek.com and AgWeek magazine this week. South Dakota State University plans a lamb bonanza to celebrate and promote the state's sheep industry. And North Dakota 4-H specialist Dean Ockery plans to retire January 14th after nearly 4 decades of service to youth. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgWeek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have yourself a great and safe week.